TPCSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
From the ECSI Sports Studios and the #1 sports investors in America, we bring you the closing bell. As the market closes, legends Jeff Dawson and Riley Magnuson bring you all the sports investing tips for tonight's matchups. If you want to learn more from the two legends at the desk, make sure you stay tuned to the closing bell.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and I'm actually the co-host here. June 21st. Wow. June 21st. July 4th, right around the corner. I'm getting too far ahead of myself. A busy, busy week, a busy, busy day, as you can tell. Shout out to our proud sponsor and partnership. Of course, it's WagerWire. If you haven't downloaded the app, please head on over to Google Play, wherever you download the apps. It's free. And from there, myself, Travis, Zach, the rest of this team and community, Mindy, Amber, the list is endless, Mr. Berry. We will take good care of you, I promise. So without further ado, let's bring in the co-host of this show, the one and only, Mr. Riley Magnuson. I'm going to screw this up. I promise I'll get you. Hold on. Yeah. Noah, where are you when we need you? There you go. How are you?
I am good, my friend. I think I need to upgrade my setup over here so I can maybe do a little producing in my free time as well here. But I am good, my friend. It is Friday. We've still got some hockey going on tonight. Obviously, I'm not the hockey expert, but I'm loving the extended series a little bit. Whether or not it's over or not, or a little extension, we'll obviously have to see. But plenty of stuff going on tonight. We've got a full slate of baseball. We've obviously got some decent golf tournament going on that we can talk about. But we'll try and keep things short and sweet. Lately, we've been a little bit better now when it's starting to creep into only baseball, and we don't go down the full slate. We don't have basketball. It hasn't really been any NFL news that we can jabber on about with each other here. So I'm sure we can keep this one short and sweet, my friend.
Yeah, and it kind of helps because it's 6:15 now, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at 6:15. Scott Webb comes with his MLB best bets and report. He comes on the weekends around noon on Saturday and Sunday. So like today, we were at 5 o'clock supposed to start. I had the NCAA Insiders around 2:30. We ran to 3:15, 3:20 to be exact, and then supposed to jump on with Andrew at 3:30 at Wager Talk, and we talked for 45 minutes and then got a show going. So we're a little late, but we promised to make sure Scotty is not late. A shout out to Daniel Berry and Sports Highlights. Thank you so much. Happy Friday. Welcome aboard. So I'll go right to it. About an hour away north of Cape Cod, Massachusetts, a parade went on. The Celtics' 18th banner will be raised. First game at home. Whoever they decide to play, probably be the Milwaukee Bucks. Maybe I'll guess on the Bucks there and Giannis. But a proud moment. It's been a few years. Listen, I go back to, the Celtics, the glory days with Bird. That's where I grew up. I remember when Havlicek stole the ball, and I remember that. But Larry, those were my guys. I took pride, obviously, with Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Ray Allen. And then I bought into Tatum and Brown. You know my love affair for Jaylen Brown. And I guess my proudest moment of this run is all the accolades that Jalen is getting. Tatum had a great playoff, great Eastern Conference, but it was Jaylen Brown that won the Eastern Conference MVP. And as late as the fourth quarter on FanDuel, Tatum was minus 550 to win that MVP, and they gave it to Jaylen Brown. So they had their day today. They had the parade in Boston. I don't know what social media had to say. I know Portnoy was there on one of the boats. And back to Jaylen Brown, he's doing so much for the community and the city of Boston. One of the schools, or for the schools he's been funding and sending monies to and being a part of, there was a school bus of the kids inside the school bus on the parade route as them. So hats off to the Celtics.
100%. And, obviously we talked about it the other day. They're going to have a great chance again next year. There's going to be some hungrier teams. And, I'm chomping at the bit to see, I guess I didn't even, and I lead into what I was talking about as far as news to talk about. We can get to it in a second, but I guess my team made the first trade that they've made in 3 years. That was an obvious miss on my part there. That was yesterday. But as far as the Celtics, a lot of guys that are coming back here into next year, and obviously some health with Porzingis coming back a little bit potentially as well. So going to have some chances again next year, but. Like I said, you're going to have probably a hungry and healthier Bucks team next year. You might have a Philly team that probably is going to get aggressive this offseason and add some pieces. And so I would have to imagine there is at least going to be one or two more challengers in the East, and obviously some teams that are a little on the youth side this year that could be growing a little bit next year. But obviously my Bulls, like I said, making their first player acquisition in 3 years, which seems absurd. Very sad to see Alex Caruso go, but I think, that one was kind of an obvious move for a long time, unless they were a team that was going to take that next step into being a true contender. A guy that still is very, very valuable, has another year of control. But obviously that's someone that at the state of being a 500 franchise for 2-3 years in a row, you want to get something in return for him without him walking away in the offseason in a year or two here. So they go young. Obviously, the allegations of Josh Giddey have been all over the place, and Bulls fans have mixed feelings for that. But you bring in someone who's 21 years old, and unless pending whatever other moves they might make this offseason, you go with someone that you could potentially put into place for the next for foreseeable future here. If they continue to go with kind of the route they've had with their team with Vooch, Levine, whether it be DeRozan or not, but any combination of those three guys, you finally get a true kind of passer facilitator like you had a few years ago. So I overall, all things considered, I think it was a decent move for them, and they had to shake something up. Very sad to see Caruso go. He would be a contributor on all 30 teams, and I would love to have him back in the future. But it was a good move, I think, for both sides because Josh Giddey, his role was starting to diminish a little bit in Oklahoma City as well as the rest of their team emerged a little bit this past year too. So all things considered, I'm okay with the move for the Bulls.
So are you giddy for Giddey?
I wouldn't say I'm giddy for Giddey because of the potential allegations that have been surrounding him. But I mean, it does seem like I don't think that's going to linger from what that was. So before that, I could tell you I was probably pretty giddy for Giddey before those, and I know a lot of people were. His game can be pretty good. Obviously, he's got some shortcomings. He's not really a shooter at all. So hopefully he can turn that around a little bit in the future and not have that be a weak spot in his game there. But I think for our team and especially bringing in a 21-year-old who's proved himself to be at the bare minimum a solid NBA player, I think it was a good move for the Bulls.
Two things with the Bulls. We've been talking for a long, long time about moving Zach LaVine, and when it was getting hot and hotter, all of a sudden, I'm going to have surgery, and he taps out. It's a bad, and I'm going to use the word bad draft this year. Listen, I'm the biggest UConn fan around. They're going to have three guys potentially in the top 10. There's even talks of Klingon going number one, which is no disrespect, Kling, but King Kong Kling is not a top three guy right now in the NBA. No. Newton and the other top Castle Newton also there. My question to you, twofold here. I hope you don't get the banana in the tailpipe, but you think you move Levine finally, and I hope not for any draft picks this year.
Right.
I'd want him in the next up and coming years. And there's been ties to the Lakers. Are you going to hold with Levine?
That's the interesting thing because, and I've said I do the lack of the player acquisition or player departures that they've had the last 3 years has been very bizarre, and obviously they've been in a tough spot. I do appreciate and respect the fact that they won't take 50, 60 cents on the dollar for any of their assets, like a lot of other teams would, because in that case you might just be getting scraps that could be gone in a couple of years here. So I don't know. And it's almost at the point where the enticing type of offer might be some respectable draft capital, which of course wouldn't be that respectable. It would be in other years, maybe the 10th pick might be the 2025th type pick in other drafts. And but at the end of the day, I don't know that anyone's going to be ponying it up necessarily for any future capital like that. If the offer is there, I do think they move on from him. I just don't know who is going to take that bait. It would have to be somebody that's looking for any type of big scorer like Zach LaVine is, but until he proves that he can be a contributor to a true winning team, I think teams are a little hesitant. His ego isn't bad, but obviously it's enough to on the court where he thinks he's the best player in the world. Not a diva necessarily for my eyes, but obviously the departure from the season this year doesn't look great. But not your typical kind of diva that I think is going to ruin a locker room, but at the end of the day, most of the time, he does kind of have that attitude like he's the best player on the court, and sometimes that's great, and he's unconscious, and other times it's what has cost the Bulls a lot of games these last couple of seasons.
And the last is, and unfortunate is, Mr. Ball himself is the fact, he just has not been able to be on the court. I know I read something probably 2-3 weeks ago. It doesn't sound promising. Like it could be almost like career ending. Is it another lost season with Ball?
I would imagine so. I think we would have been hearing good things by now. Like he's gearing up to get into some scrimmages and that type of thing by now, if anything. And so, I do think his time is done in Chicago at the very least. But yeah, I don't know if it would be a career ending, but I would be shocked if he's playing at all this season in Chicago.
If that's the case, I wish the NBA would step in and try to help you guys out there because, it is, you talk about being cap struck. This is a
Yeah.
guy that was supposed to be a game changer for you guys. And it's been nothing but, on street clothes and, collecting and cashing checks. And, my thoughts on that there. Golf going on, and I got to bring it up because it's about 3 hours away in Connecticut. And again, the return of Scotty, a signature event. Less Rory. Rory came out on Monday, congratulated Bryson, said, I'm taking a few weeks off. Well deserved at that. Tom Kim, who was part of our long shots last week, a blazing round yesterday, and then just comes in today with another -5, leads at -13. Colin Morikawa and Batia at -11. Xander Schauffele -10. Currently Scheffler -10 through 16. Sung J M, Lowry, Justin Thomas at 9 under. Tony Finau with Rob McIntyre, and Hoagie at 8 and Cantlay at 7. Thoughts on the golf? Great tournament lineup.
Heck of a leaderboard, my friend. I don't know how without Rory as far as the PGA roster, that take out Rory and maybe a couple other guys, and this is about as star-studded as it gets. Not to mention you get a little bit of a resurgence, at least right now. Ricky Fowler, who's been pretty bad these last handful of months this season, who looked like he was in for a little bit of a resurgence last year, and so far this year has been I'm looking at it right now. I think he's only had one top 20. He's got no top 10s on the year. So this is a welcome sight to see Rory, at least on that first page of the leaderboard, let alone we'll see what happens the rest of the way. So I'm happy for him. And Tom Kim, he's been one of the steadier guys all season long, or at least these last couple of months, I should say. So I'm so happy to see that. I've had him in a lot of situations, a lot of spots. Sam Burns, another guy, and Hideki Matsuyama, two guys you and I have been talking about, is kind of circling the wagons a little bit. I guess you would still kind of count this as circling the wagons, but still kind of in the category of it's close to being sort of in contention. So I look out. There's a lot of guys. Another indicator that there's some guys that could be looked out for in the future in these next few weeks here to potentially be in that top 5, top 10. Obviously, we've got a couple more days to go here. Wyndham Clark, a guy who obviously just made the Olympic golf team, the 4 for the USA, who I know, who obviously has is high up in the world golf rankings, which right now is obviously a little flawed. But anyways, he's been bad. This is the first time, at least in quite some time. It hasn't been many times that he's been playing this well. At least these last couple of months since March is what it looks like. Just looking at his results list real quick there. So I think it's another one that you can see a lot of guys that in the future here could be coming up in these next couple of tournaments, and obviously a few guys that are still in contention that could snatch this thing as we go on here.
I'm going to go. Give me 1 second. I'm going to refresh this. I might lose you for a second. Let me just see if I can refresh it. And I did. Currently on DraftKings, Scotty Scheffler plus 220, Tom Kim plus 360, Morikawa plus 400, Xander plus 550, Batia plus 1200, JT 1800, Sungjae 2500 with Lowry. Since we won't be on Saturday or Sunday, I'll give you a $100 free swing, wink, wink play. Who would you take?
I mean, it's hard to 220 for Scotty when he's 3 back. I don't know if that's obviously it's respect for him to be the leader, but I feel like we've seen some other situations this year where he's been 3-4 back, and obviously he's got a couple more today, or it's suspended, so I don't know if they're finishing today or picking it up tomorrow or not, but he's got a couple more in the second round here that he could pick up another shot there. So I don't know if that's a ton of respect to be the favorite there, or not enough to respect that it's not plus 150 with the way he's been playing in some of these. So if I had $100 swing, maybe Schauffele again. At 10 under 3 back there, plus 550. Him and Morikawa obviously been playing real good, but we've still been kind of waiting for that extra gear from Morikawa, and we know right now that Xander these last few months has had that extra gear in him. So to have that extra gear, and I'm a big Tom Kim guy, but would love a little bit more respect as the current leader there. But I'll go Xander as the guy that I think can turn it on another gear outside of obviously Scotty.
I like where your eyes are there. Again, I thought Xander Thursday last week, 6 for 18 hitting the fairways, yet posted an even score. I think he was 1 under after 2. I was waiting for him to fire on moving day, did not. Colin, again, has been great at the majors. It's the flat stick that's been letting him down. Of course, the respect here is Scotty at plus 220. The non-respect at Kim at plus 360. Kenny put 72 holes together there. I like, I like, if you took Xander, I guess I'd take Morikawa. But I tell you what, I'm smiling because I'm glad to see JT on the board at plus 1,800. A guy that I love to root for that has all the shots in the bag and just has had a hard time between the ears of putting it all together for 4 rounds.
Oh, 100%. And that does seem like he's got a handful of, I think he's only through 14 for his second round. So that might be a little respect that he could put a couple more birdies in the hole before this second round is done as well. So, I mean, he's a guy that you would him and Spieth obviously, but Spieth I think is kind of transformed into he is what he is. I think Justin Thomas is a guy that could get back to being a perennial top 5, top 10 guy here in the future. So I hope we get to that point with him. Shane Lowry obviously is a guy that can always come out of nowhere. I was surprised that not he put 8 under in today, and maybe we're just talking about a big day today. And I don't quite know what the conditions are for the rest of the weekend over there yet. But Robbie Mack 8 under, won a couple of weeks ago, not getting a ton of respect on the odds either right now.
No, he isn't. So it's going to be interesting. Like I said, suspended. They'll be back at it tomorrow. Listen, golf is gaining momentum by the day, and these sports books are offering more and more and more. The dangerous part about it is, again, getting caught up in the live game. We like to do some pre-flops. We like to take a look after each night. Like to really reassess. I'll be up at the crack ass of dawn tomorrow morning to reassess the leaderboard, to get a feel for it. We're 3 for 3 in the majors this year. I haven't been dabbling week to week. We do our show, obviously, with Brady Kannon on Wednesdays at 5 o'clock Eastern. We will be getting more into the week to week, but we do take some swings on Saturday and Sunday, so we'll keep an eye open for that. Stanley Cup tonight. I talked about it with Andrew on his channel at Wager Talk before this show. I'll just say this, guys. DraftKings. Where are my notes here? And kind of comical, because in the pre-flop, as the tournament was progressing, we got the market covered. We got plus 450 on the Oilers, plus 425 on the Panthers. We talked about Bob, Kachuk, and Barkov pre-flop. Try to get some extra meat on the bone for the MVP. When I wrote up the finals, I couldn't have been more wrong. I said the Panthers in 6, but I said split in Florida, split in Edmonton, then Florida wins game 5 and wins on foreign territory in game 6. Well, I didn't see the Panthers getting out to a 3-0 lead. I didn't see the Oilers coming back 2-0 the next two. Here's my point. Edmonton's favored minus 117, minus 115 tonight. You still can get Edmonton plus 300 to win the Stanley Cup. So if you are one of the ones that want Edmonton and like Edmonton and want a piece of the pie, don't put the minus 117 up. Take them to win the cup at plus 300. Why, Jeff? Because if you like Edmonton tonight to win, you're going to get a plus 300 ticket. Then when they drop the puck before they do for game 7, the Panthers will be minus 135 or 140. So you got either a plus 1 unit or a plus 1.6 or 165 if Edmonton happens to win. And here's the funny of all funny. On DraftKings, to win the Conn Smythe, Connor McDavid right now minus 330. Barkov plus 500. Bob plus 1,100. That's right, Mr. Saylor. Bob is plus 1,100 right now, and Kachuk plus 3,000. So if the Panthers win tonight, you still could see Connor McDavid minus 330 to win the Conn Smythe.
That would be impressive, and no, and I love it, and it always bears mentioning because you lay it out very, very well as far as you're gonna have a lot of people that are gonna be taking the minus 120 whatever it is on the Oilers tonight in a game 6, and there's a much better way to guarantee yourself some profit. So you do it so well, my friend. The interesting thing tonight, I was out of curiosity went and looked at DraftKings tracker, the money line. I think. It's minus 115 and 105 now. Is exactly 50-50 on the bets and money for the money line splits on this game tonight. So the people are split on this game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I said to Andrew, I think Bob still has a chance to win the Conn Smythe. What you need is one of those 45 save nights. You need the 2-0. Empty net 3-0. I think it does go under. I like the first period under. I think you're going to see this Panther team that's pissed off that they had to travel back to Edmonton instead of closing this out at home. All the pressure in the world is on Edmonton in front of their home fans. This is a Wayne Gretzky, Yari Curry, Paul Coffey, Grant Fuhr crowd. I mean, it's going to be the loudest it's ever been. If Florida can find a way to quiet the crowd, get that first goal, and have Bob stand on his head, because without Bob, Florida's not here right now. We know that for a fact, and I think the real Bob shows up. So about 6 minutes left. We can talk some baseball. Anything catching your eye in the MLB tonight?
Well, definitely not a pretty game, and I was just curious on your thoughts here. Obviously, and I'm going to my White Sox. They were one of the first ones up here in 45 minutes or so. You've got for what they've done this year, a respectable pitching matchup. The Tigers are starting to slip a little bit, though. I've been treading water around 500 a good majority of the season so far. They've lost their last 4. Had a rough trip to Atlanta this week. But they are, and you got Jack Flaherty on the mound for the Tigers, who has been really, really good three starts in a row. Goose eggs for 3 straight. 1, 2, and 3 hits allowed these last 3. And you've got Eric Fetty on the mound for the White Sox, who had been a punching bag in some other spots, has been a little bit transformed, has been better these last, or has been pretty good these last 2. And you got a Tigers team minus 190. Curious your thoughts on if that's respect towards Flaherty, lack of respect, and thinking we're getting some regression out of Fetty tonight. And obviously it's the worst team in baseball, so maybe it's just a fair line here. But I guess my point is, Fetty's been getting a little bit more respect than this type of number, especially against a team that is 34-40, who's lost 4 in a row here.
I looked at the one of the sources we used for props yesterday, and something that stuck out to me was, and I always screw his name up, the Yankee starter last night, Lewis Heel. I want to call him Gill, of course. And he's been great for us on the over on the strikeout props. And it was 6.5 again yesterday. And I sensed some regression. Well, I didn't expect 16, 17 run regression, which he didn't allow all those goals. Orioles erupted. When I looked at today's under overs on the K props, I noticed the same thing for Flaherty. So I'm glad you brought this up. I'm going to say regression on the Tigers and Flaherty today. And I actually like your White Sox first 5 tonight. And I like the Fetty side. So I like where your eyes are, sir.
Interesting. No, it was at least one to bring up. Yet you've got a bad White Sox team. They blew another one late in the game yesterday. So if you're betting on full game money lines for the White Sox, God bless you. First 5s for a few of these pitchers are at least a better spot. Fetty somehow, some way, of course, we don't really care that much about win losses as much as we used to for pitchers. Somehow 5-1 on the worst team in baseball here. But I digress. There were some other ones. Same time actually. Apple TV Plus, Diamondbacks and Phillies. Phillies only minus 145 at home. Total 9.5. Pitching matchup, 2 guys that have been bad this year, a little bit better their last couple, Jordan Montgomery, Taijuan Walker, total 9.5. Are we getting some continued fair success with either of these guys, or are we continue to get the ball blown off of them here tonight?
The public's all in on the over. This is one of the stenches of the night. I thought, take a look at their records. I think the whole world is on the Phillies. I like the side of Arizona. I think there's an edge with Montgomery first 5 today. I also think that the Arizona will score early and often against Mr. Walker. So last week, the ECSI VIPs up 7 units in the MLB. We double dipped with Arizona on Thursday, first 5 team total. We double dipped on Friday, first 5 in team total. I like Arizona first 5 today, and I like their team total over the 4.5 today.
Yeah, and I mean, between these 2 guys, we've obviously seen better from Walker as well. But Jordan Montgomery, it's much more arguable that he's going to have a much better turn out of this season. Last time out, 4 innings or 4 hits, 1 unearned run, 2 walks, 7 Ks. That might, and it was against my White Sox, so take that with a grain of salt. But maybe that was exactly what he needed to get himself going here. He could have a really, I would trust him to have a much better outing and turn things around. I mean, both these guys have been bad this season, but I think he could be turning things around for sure there. And then another one in where was it here? Yankees and Braves, 2 former White Sox pitchers, Chris Sale and Carlos Rodon, minus 110 both ways here. These 2 guys actually have been, Chris Sale has obviously turned things around this year and has been pretty good. He's obviously got 1 ugly one, but last 2 runs allowed each time out. And Carlos Rodon, bad last time out, but on the season has been pretty decent. Any thoughts on this one here? Good matchup in the Bronx.
Sale came out guns a-blazing, starting to leak some oil. Rodon had been rounding into form, tough luck last game. But that, again, regression does happen in baseball. Again, the opening number here of Atlanta, minus 120, trusting and respecting that. The Yankees, was it last weekend, faced the Dodgers, and now in come the Braves. This Braves team can't hit to save a lick, but they were favored. So if you wanted a long play here, I would take a look at The Braves somehow, some way to find a way to win this one in a full game. In the prop market today, the only guy in green means go to hit a homer. And last time I had this, I gave it out Sunday night on Sports Grid. Aaron Judge to hit a homer. He hit one first inning in Boston that still hasn't landed. And we got Aaron Judge to hit a homer today at plus 265 in the prop farm.
I like it. That is all. Obviously, we got to get out of here. So that we had some good baseball talk. Obviously, that is a good baseball game to watch tonight. Definitely one of the more watchable ones. I'll give mine my suggestion out for a bomb. Maybe the guy Jock Peterson. We talked about that Diamondbacks Phillies game. Jock Peterson, pretty good career numbers against Taijuan Walker himself there. So I will go with the man Jock Peterson over there in Arizona.
And my closing thought is I'll just give you the big overnight move of the night. And I will tell you this, guys, have not had great success with him. He's a lightning rod. I'm a first five guy for the most part. But the biggest move was a 25-cent overnight move tonight at the Circa. Good friend Jeffrey Benson, Mr. Metcalf, and, of course, Derek Stevens. Take a look at Mr. Kirby for Seattle. They're at the Marlins. There was a 25-cent move on the run line tonight. So if you like Seattle tonight, minus the hook, first five, still minus 120. I've seen it as high as minus 130 at some shops. Take a look at Seattle minus a hook, first five, minus 120, and make sure you list Kirby. In 13 minutes, Mr. Scott Webb will be back on our channel talking his MLB best plays. For myself and Riley, we'll be done for the weekend. It's been a great, great week. I can't thank you guys enough. Shout out to Mr. Berry. Riley, go enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the golf, the UFC, and we'll see you maybe on Monday night. Is that correct?
We should be good to go for that. Yes, sir.
From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Riley Magnuson at Riley_Magnuson, the one. We wish everyone a blessed evening. Do not be the pizza man. It's payday. Go pay your bills. Go see the wife. Have a good meal. Go get some ice cream. Enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you soon.